Asus, Republic of Gamers. HyperX. Monster Energy. Live at MGM Grand.
The Swedes are about to go ahead and do battle versus none other than the North American squad, Cloud9. We're in the middle of the Nevada desert, very little outside here. It's just sunshine, lights, happiness, and perhaps a little bit of Counter-Strike as well. We're in the MGM Grand, and I am your host, Alex Machine Richardson. This next game could very well be the best of the day, depending on how both of these sides do show up. Joining me, we have Jason Moses O'Toole, Chad Birchall, and Duncan Thorin Shields, and we do have an intriguing one. Now, I don't know where we need to start this one, because it's two teams with very intriguing 3 months that's just passed. Cloud9, of course, I think it looks like we're starting there, lifting the trophy. Blowing everyone away. I don't think anyone here at this panel will disagree when I say we didn't anticipate to see them winning the Pro League in Sao Paulo. Anyone disagree with that? No? Surprised us then, Duncan. Lifting that trophy, making a bit of a statement, and then kind of fading out into nothing.
Nothing since then.
What happened? Where did they go?
I mean, you have to say, first of all, it was kind of like everything came together for them to win the Pro League. You know, they weren't necessarily the best team there or in the best form in general. It all worked in that game. I mean, I look back on that game against SK. I don't think they've ever played better than that. And
it was awesome.
Unfortunately, they never played that well since then. And so they weren't terrible at all the events. I mean, some of those were like, IM Oakland's a big best of one round robin. So you can absolutely go out of those with one false step on a map, you know, and they were in some of the harder groups. But yeah, you look beyond that. Obviously, nothing happened for them in E-League. Then they never got to the major. That's the key one, really. Yeah. That's the killer right there. Yeah. So they kind of find themselves in a similar position in NIP, actually.
Right, I was going to say, it leads perfectly in. Another team that failed to get to the major was NIP, Chad. And you've recently been in the desk in Cologne casting that Pro League, or at least analysing it. And they have been having a tough time, despite the time given to them away from the major. A lot of people would assume it was time spent hard at work trying to get the chip off their shoulder. Hasn't worked out so far online.
Yeah, I think, you know, it must be really hard to be in their position to have been to all those majors beforehand and then not make it. You know, they're the original legends of CSGO. I think a break probably was much needed for a lot of the players and a chance to really reflect. I think a lot of hard decisions would have been made in that period of time, and the fact they've stuck together is a good thing. I think they could go down a similar path, maybe not as successful, but a similar path as VP, being a team, you know, who's going to stick together, at least with this core four, and just slug it out and give it their best. If we don't see anything by the middle of the year, then they're definitely in trouble. But I think, what do we go? 1, 2, I think there's like 6 or 7 games they've lost in a row, and offline and online. So
breaking the record, I believe, for the biggest loss streak.
Their own record?
I think breaking the record. I mean, it's like 7 losses in like...
I think 7 losses in a row is a record in eSports.
7-0.
Yeah. I'm going to stand by that, historian. I'm going to stand by that fact.
They matched my record.
But
they held the longest win streak as well.
Yeah, I know they've been struggling and stuff, but I don't see them rocking up here and doing as poorly as they did online. I think they're a team that are a class act, and they have some very classy players.
Yeah, of course, there's no doubt of their legacy. It's just a question if they're going to be willing to maintain it in 2017. Yeah. Jason, what are your, this is a bit more of an opinion question, but I mean, what do you think? I mean, 2017 for NIP, I'm assuming you've tuned into some of those online games, you've seen where they've been. But
you know what they say about assumptions.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, this is a team that I actually think there's some parallels in terms of Cloud9 and NIP both being very resistant to roster changes. Not to say it's always the fix, not to always say that's the thing you should do, but I think there have been clear opportunities to improve these teams with roster changes that neither of them have taken. And at the moment, I mean, both of them missing the major. I think NIP could do a repeat basically of last year where they win the odd event here or there. They're never going to be favorites, but if they're peaking at the right moment, they can take a tournament here or there. Cloud9, my big issue with them is you see way more cracks than positives in this team, and even in winning Sao Paulo, I think that's where are even that victory highlighted the fact that they have huge issues with Skadoodle and Shroud still, and even nothing to a certain degree. You can't just be relying on Stewie and Automatic to be doing everything and having the most impact. So both of these teams being resistant to change, not only in roster but also in playstyles, are not really innovating anything in their own play.
So Jason's suggesting that NIP have to be peaking at the right moment, and right now we are going to be peaking at Group C. This is, of course, halfway through the day, and now we look at the other side of the groups. You've already seen SK and Tyloo do battle, and now it's time to see who will be joining SK in the upper bracket. Will it be the Swedes, or will it be the North Americans? Of course, Tyloo could prove to be an unpredictable adversary for either of the teams competing here in that best of 3, and so really getting to the upper bracket is a big step in the right direction, especially in Group C. Expectations have already been outlined that neither team really has got too much on paper coming into 2017, but I do want to start with the Cloud9 discussion that Jason's been pulling on there, Duncan. Stewie and Automatic, it seems like a general consensus is everyone's very, very happy with their position in Cloud9.
Sure.
Big things. Now, the other 3 names that have been mentioned there, who really does stand out to you? I know you've been hard on Skadoodle in the past. Is that just because you hold very fondly the memories of
Yeah, the thing with
Skadoodle?
Shroud is I think Shroud has only ever had very brief periods where he looked like a star player type material, you know? Whereas the difference is Skadoodle had like maybe 2.5 years where he really was like the hope of NA. He was going to be the next great player. And the problem is he really has lived essentially for over a year now purely on the fact that there was no other AWPer that anyone thought, well, let's just get that guy an upgrade. Right. So in a weird way, that's not a great way to do a roster move. Like, oh, well, I don't know who we'd get instead, because actually he's not really bringing much to the table himself. And so it's not always that he hasn't had the skill or he's just been a bad player. He's not really used well in the team either. It feels like Stewie, I mean, Stewie's a brand new in-game lead. He's only been in-game lead like a year or so. He hasn't necessarily understood how to use him even. And so you feel like that has to be one of the flaws, even from the good part of the team, which is, okay, Stewie, 2K, and Automatic, they kill it in the server, but if they're the ones deciding somehow the way the team operates, then they also have to take some of the flack for the other players not being integrated in the team.
Chad, Skadoodle not being implemented correctly, does that ring any bells?
Yeah, I think so. This is the theme with a lot of NA teams that don't build around their AWPers, which I don't think is a bad thing. Skadoodle was a classy AWPer. I think it's dropped off, obviously. The thing that I don't like bashing on players. It's not something I enjoy doing, but I think that Skadoodle and Shroud would probably be better off in different teams, because we've seen this a lot recently. Players getting replaced and going to lesser teams, it revitalizes them and it makes them hungry to play. I'm not saying they're not hungry. I don't know their mental fortitude or where they're at, but this team seems mentally beaten as a whole, and I think maybe bringing in some fresh faces would help out Automatic and Stewie, who are obviously as hungry as anything.
It's odd to be saying that, isn't it? A team that won a huge tournament. I mean, it was huge, $750,000. The world's best teams were attending. To have won it, to have had criticism held towards their play, even with winning the grand final, and we're still sitting there saying they're not even the best team in North America. It's a rarity. I don't think we've ever been in a position like this before.
To build on that, like, you can look at the Karrigan example. It's one that I like to make, right? So Astralis or TSM, whichever one you want to go with, lost so many times and had so many like devastating losses that even if Karrigan was making the right calls, the players have probably lost faith and they're probably very down. And if replacing him and having a new leader or having a new figure revitalizes the team and makes everyone else play better, you have to do it, because you can't always be super strong mentally and be able to turn any situation around like VP.
Right.
And some players, they need this to kind of give them a fresh face. It's a fresh start. That's the way we used to look at it.
And interestingly enough, the conversation will be mirrored as we do move into the other team, NIP. It does seem like we could literally almost copy and paste some of the analysis we've just done for Cloud9 into the Ninjas. Jason, do you think there is kind of there's a mental game afoot here with the Swedes as well?
I don't think it's like
Not
any
as
kind
much?
of. Not nearly as much. I mean, I think the biggest mental block that had, as we alluded to, was getting knocked out of the major qualifier, not even qualifying for the major, which they've had plenty of time to address. I think more so the big thing moving forward is maybe it comes down to being a little bit more motivated, realizing it's not just an easy path to get to these majors anymore as it was in the past. But overall, I think their mentality is going to be fine. There's way too much experience for them to be hampered by that. It's more just, I mean, in the major qualifier itself, I think they're just missing the identity of, like, I think we're starting to see the impact of Get Right and Forest. Maybe just, I mean, Forest has been playing well, but like they're kind of fading a little bit, almost like that Tiger Woods effect where you just know these guys are always going to be stellar, and now it's not there anymore. I think those players maybe even get right specifically individually after that game that's going to haunt him forever, I know, just because of it against Vega where he played poorly. That's something that he's going to have to get over, and this is when you have to start as a star player, and this is sometimes the toughest thing to do, is rethinking how you play the game to be able to be more effective as maybe some skills wane, as maybe you have to choose a different role within the team to fit other players better.
I would imagine that that's actually a very difficult process, Chad. From a player's perspective, I mean...
Acceptance is the hardest part.
Right, but I mean, I'm not necessarily using your personal story as an example, but when you have to change your game, something that's worked in the past, and then you're being told it has to change, I imagine that's not an easy conversation or a process to undertake.
Threat's here, by the way. Sorry to interrupt, but I didn't.
All right.
Threat
watching.
No, he hasn't been at events for this team for a long time, so it's just interesting seeing him actually come to this, because I think it's been a few months since he's actually shown up at events with the team.
But I do think it's an interesting question, so shut up, Jason.
Yep.
Question to you, Chad, was regarding
not
being able to play the same way you used to.
I think if you get mentally scarred from a game and you don't want to play the same way you used to, that's probably different than being told to play differently.
Right.
So like I would always want JKS to be more of an aggressive player because he was quite slow, clutch player. When we got PK in the team, he basically told me just to become a bot to drop guns for my teammates. So to do something like that, it hurts, and you don't feel like you want to play.
Didn't realize he had
anymore.
such big balls.
PK did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
life.
we won't get into that one.
He came in with the belt.
Yeah, I copped it. Someone had to take it. The
Well,
oldest one, I covered it for the rest
I'm
of the
going to
team.
need you to play a new role called Bot, who drops the weapons.
Yeah.
The sponge shop is open.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Man
It was good
alive.
fun. Really helped with the confidence as a player and made me want to continue.
Yeah, absolutely.
See you on Reddit.
And how does that make you feel? There you go. Therapy here in Vegas underway. We should also look at the veto, because that's going to changing
Oh, we've missed
topic
half of it.
briefly. Yes, indeed. Let's catch up. Duncan, why don't you give us an abridged version of what we just witnessed?
Yeah, well, I mean, NIP taking Mirage out, that's been their permaban forever. Likewise, Cloud9 does not play Nuke.
Yeah.
NIP taking out Cash, probably a little bit of PTSD from
Yeah.
the major qualifiers. That was a map they liked. Cobblestone from Cloud9 getting taken out is interesting. That was kind of in the middle of their map pool. They usually like to play it. I have to feel like NIP. Will they gamble and let Train through? Because that has been, for a while now, one of Cloud9's best maps. They're going to take it out of the equation. It's a map that they've lost quite a lot recently.
Could we see another Inferno?
So it's up to Cloud9. Do they want to ban Overpass and take the new Inferno? I mean, they've been a team that's been resistant to playing newer maps like that. Yeah. Or will they go to Overpass? Wasn't a bad map necessarily, and be the ones who ban Inferno?
I like their Overpass.
I actually think they might go for Inferno here. So they've gone and banned it anyway. They've gone to Overpass.
Okay.
I liked it when like Stewie makes these instinctual plays and he's able to get like very aggressive in the toilet part of the map while the rest of his team's off towards B. He's very good at making those mid-round calls.
Oh, talking of being aggressive in the toilet, we are going to have to introduce our casters very quickly.
Oh, okay.
There was that story from the last yeah, there wasn't there?
Oh,
On
it's an
social media and
anniversary.
everything.
Let's whip out those predictions quickly. Duncan, what have you got for me?
I'm going to take NIP. I think this can be a closer. I think the map actually kind of evens the odds a bit, but I think NIP should win. They've got the class still.
Look, are we all just going to go for NIP? Because there's probably no point betting our chips here. Let's do something more exciting.
Hold
once again.
on. Hold up. Captain America's here.
Yeah, he said before
What
he wasn't
about-
feeling very patriotic.
NIP.
That's
there
what
we
he
go.
tells me every
All
morning.
right, so let's do the player thing
Every
again. Don't worry
morning.
about Alex.
I'm playing this
Where are you
game.
going
I'm
with
playing
this
this
one?
game.
Which one?
3 chips for Cloud9.
Oh, okay. Well,
Just edgy over here.
I'm just going to bet one because I can only win one from you.
Let's start
so
with
that's for
predictions on
NIP.
Alex.
3 though, so you can win 3.
No, but he's going to go for NIP, and he's going to go for NIP, so we can only win one. But if anybody wants to do something interesting, which is bet on players who are going to be best in the server.
So Sponge is betting based off
Side
losing
bets.
less than
Yeah,
everyone else.
Yeah.
So we're betting on who's going to be the best in the server.
Best- who gets the most kills?
Statistically. Obviously, that matters the most, right? Just like predictions.
And nice and quick, because I know Henry and
Yeah,
Sato are chomping.
okay, let's do that. I'll do 2 for Forest.
I'm going to put 2 on Get Right.
All right.
Those were actually my top 2 picks.
Well,
Right?
good luck.
So,
Follower, not a leader. As
all
usual.
in on Freiburg.
Okay.
And I said Cloud9. So
You need
I'll
gum.
I'll take automatic. I'll take
You need
automatic.
help.
Who have you got, Alex?
I'm going to rock a Stewie 2K.
Okay, nice.
All right, cool. With that said and done, we should go ahead and check in with Henry G and
This side game needs to
Sadikist.
die. It's rubbish.
Am I balmy, Henry? Am I balmy?
Literally balmy, Alex. I think this chip section is not really doing
It's
it for
garbage,
me.
isn't it, Henry?
Yeah, it's actually not doing much. It's not really bringing much to the analysis. I don't think.
Listen, we've got to grease it up for tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nonsense. It absolutely is.
Chad's trying his hardest with new ideas.
Yeah.
The player betting.
Yeah.
I'm not
Someone's
sure
gotta
that
do
really
it,
has
right?
too much weight to it, but at least you guys are trying.
It's true.
Yeah.
Listen, I like the whole best player pick thing. If we're gonna play a new game,
Okay.
I'm
Where are you going with this?
I'm gonna go with Pith.
Okay, an interesting one. All right. Well, that doesn't leave me many options. He took automatic. I guess I'll go with Stewie.
That's
If
just
I'm-
going with
Alex already went with that.
I already gone with
Oh,
Stewie.
oh, wow.
Sorry, what did you say,
So-
Moses?
I've got automatic.
I think all
what did I
these
say?
games are pretty bad. Let's
I said you're
We're still going down
get
this
back to
path.
the old route.
I'm going to go ahead and say, let's leave it to the only game we really do know and love. It's Counter-Strike. Henry, Sado, you're going to cast it. Enjoy yourselves. You're heading into Overpass.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are indeed heading into Overpass in a map I particularly enjoy casting. I know you like it, similar to Cash, for reasons that the CTs get to be aggressive.
Sure, and an interesting matchup. Both teams actually right now in pretty poor form. The guys touched on it. Obviously Cloud9, big, massive tournament win with Pro League, and then really have dropped off. And obviously NIP not even making it to the major. Really rough road for them right now. I'm kind of speculating there might be roster changes coming in. This is probably the last tournament. This kind of, I think this is a real test for them. They brought Threat in to actually be part of this. Like, it's the first time we've seen him at a tournament, and he does actually have a lot more impact this time as he can talk to the players while the game's going on.
Yeah, 100%. And it is the first time we've seen him. They are the defending Masters champions. Let's not forget.
Right?
Yes, they won Malmo. Very impressive run. They actually, their biggest threat that they faced was actually in the semifinal versus Godsent at the time.
Yeah.
Basically, the Godsent that is now one player removed. Both of these teams didn't make the major, and I think both of them, interestingly enough, Cloud9 saying they weren't going to do roster changes when some rumors did kind of exist at the end of the major. They might. Both of them could be facing that situation if results don't start to arrive, because both these teams definitely have high expectations for them.
Well, Matthew, they do say Las Vegas is a savage journey to the heart of the American dream, and certainly is going to be a tough
Is that what
challenge.
they say?
They do. Well, Hunter S. Thompson says that. I wanted to get a quote in there.
Okay.
But it seemed quite...
The one film you've watched.
The one film, yeah. Why not? Well, then it's going to be Cloud9 starting on the CT side, and NIP with 4 sets of armor, 1 smoke in the hands of Exist, and we do say you normally end up towards this B side of the map. It was guaranteed the bomb, but it looks like Stewie, he's ready for it. He's got to connect to that angle and takes the first kill. It's Forrest, a huge scalp to take, and it's going to be a 5-4, just like that.
Exist. Creeping in from the fountain is getting closer to the front side of the bathrooms. That's where nothing currently plays. He's backing away, though. He wants to go toward long, and he gets aggressive at long. Rather than going back to the side, he's going to push up. He could actually be in the right position to catch off NIP with a very fast flank. All you got to do is continue walking forward, take a left, and a left again, and he'll arrive on Conversation Street. Sorry, I had to get a joke in there. That's a good segment, because it's going to be nothing immediately on their heels. They're slowing this down enough with 1 kill already against them as well. All Stewie and Skadoodle have to do is hold station, hold them off. And they now know the nades have gone over into A. Nothing's going to be fully aware that he is in the prime position, but lovely shot from Get Right. And they turn around. Now they think he's come out from the lower stairwell. So they were expecting his timing, but he gets Exist down nonetheless. It leaves it to a 1-man deficit for NIP. Bomb planted. Bet's able to take down Skadoodle. My man with an iron in the fire already. 3 versus 3 and no kits in play. There was 1 bot up, but it's gone down quickly. Gun showing. Freiburg needs to find the angle. Does, still turns back. Get Right has the shot on nothing, and Freiburg finds Shroud. Good position from him, and an angle on all 3.
Yeah. Overpass, definitely one of Freiburg's better maps there, and he certainly delivers in the pistol round. They lose that first pick towards the connector area as well. Stewie to open things up. They fall back to more defensive mentality at that point, and that's where NIP strike. They actually get the map control back towards middle. Smoke, 1 smoke at that towards CT spawn, and it's going in 1 by 1, hitting the shots that really count with those Glocks. And it's NIP picking up the first round here in this best of 1 on Overpass. There's no force by return, which seems to be where the game is going towards. A lot of teams actually opting to have more firepower going forward, especially on the CT side, have the AWPs and the grenades and defuse kits, so I don't mind that at all. I think that's going to be coming more into the meta as we go on. But we can see now NIP, we saw this from SK before. Remember, they brought 5 SMGs to the table. This is much more traditional, especially on the T side. 3 rifles to work with there. Keep the range nice and long, hold up in a passive mentality, get map control, piece by piece, stick together. Any frags that come into your crosshairs, you're taking those. If anyone goes down, you're refragging straight away. So this is going very nicely so far for NIP. Bomb will be down. Not really indicating where they'll be ending up just yet, but most teams do end up towards long, and that's where the rifles will be going right now. Will be Pits trying to just see if there's anyone facing this angle. It's just going to be Skadoodle jumping up there. Not going to be doing too much with this sort of buy, but maybe they can make these 1-digs come into fruition.
Everyone loves a good 1-dig. That's one way to get the heart pumping. Bursting with Counter-Strike joy. Stewie continues to try and find information at the front of the bathroom's position, but none really presenting it. Very passive from Cloud9 in all approaches and all facets of the map. At this point in time as well, when you might expect, we said it, CTs can dictate the pace. Stewie makes contact, backs away. This is going to bait out a ton of utility from NIP. They're committing. Already checking left side with a Molotov. Smoke off on bank, and Automatic now has a bit of vision. Body block on the smoke, not enough. It doesn't create a gap, and he elects to back away. It leaves Stewie inside. Good shot. Finds the first. It wasn't a 1-dig, but it was effective. Unfortunately, immediately after, the guns go to work. And it's just Shroud and Skadoodle remaining, pushing in through the smoke. Down goes Skadoodle. Shroud the same fate. In fact, they just find him because of his tracers. 2-0 NIP, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, absolutely. As we said, there was no force buy there from Cloud9. They get one kill, the one dig's not really coming in, but Stewie finds one frag, so it will be a full eco at this point. For Cloud9, probably a similar situation, a couple of deagles here or there, but it's going to be round number 3, NIP keeping 4 players alive there, so they're in a comfortable position going forward. It'll be more of the same, I would imagine. Hold up in a default position, see if there's any aggression from the CTs, and it looks like another default CT setup as well. Not going to be stacking towards that B site. That's certainly a tactic you can try and employ, flash over, try and find the first pick, but looks to be holding up.
That's actually GetRight playing the sponge role. Be a bot in spawn and drop guns, waiting for a flank.
Sponge roll. That was an amazing
Sponge
segment.
roll, sorry.
Yeah. Well, Pitt, this interesting note, he's actually stuck on the USP here. He wouldn't be purchasing a weapon, and I guess that's fine. He knows he's going against a full eco here. The one taps can be coming in. He'll be pretty comfortable. It should be a pretty simple procedure going forward, and it's almost identical to the previous round. GetRight's actually all the way in T-spawn, so that can be a problem sometimes. Obviously, the CDs can get some map control, especially left B open as much as it is, so I'll be watching a very defensive angle, and NIP have always been very good at these rounds. Historically, the anti-ecos, they don't give much away, they don't lose many of these rounds. I don't think they'll start here as we go into round number 3. It's going to be long control once again. Stewie will be in a different, more aggressive setup. The flashbang's actually decent. He gets a kill, but quickly replied by Exist.
Stewie with a quick shoulder peek as well, realizes Exist is still at that rock. Hasn't elected to push forward, not much cover if he does so, so he'll hold station and let Forrest go to work instead. Problems for Forrest is that Stewie's gotten closer to that doorway, spots the nade going in, dodges it, and he's also, counter flashed off by his teammate. That didn't work out. I was going to say, also has the potential of being pushed in from the lower stairwell. Nothing elected not to go, though, so it did leave him space and time to bring this back to a 3 versus 3. Ball, meanwhile, with Freiburg is going to go out toward, along with Exist. It's Shroud again that they have to confront. He's got vision. I thought that was near. As Exist does take him down in the end, it'll bring the bomb ever closer, but nothing, again, has a chance to lurk in and flank. Pistol only. Head armor on NIP's side. Good play from Automatic. Patience pays off. He gets GetRight, but can't capitalize further. Nothing's gotten close enough, but the headshot, it's not going to land.
They don't pick up the round, but they get 3 kills, all things considered. A pretty successful round with Cloud9, denting the NIP economy. But this is where things get interesting. Luckily for Cloud9, they didn't force buy in their second round. They're going to have plenty of money available. That's normally where CT sides can fall apart. You force buy in that second round, you go into the first gun round, you're lacking grenades, you haven't got the AWP. Players maybe not having a head armor. You can see a decent buy overall. They have the AWP, a kit, some utility to work with, so a much stronger position than they would have been in had they forced bought. But normally, like I said, terrorists are expecting the CDs to be weak on these rounds to go for something a little bit faster, and they're going to do a full commitment towards B. You can see on the minimap right now, 5 players on that side of the map, pushing through Monster. Here we go. Nothing to step up.
He's going to stay in this, Nothing? A little bit late to smoke himself off as he commits to the position. Had a nade out instead, had to draw the smoke, put him down to 36 before that smoke's deployed, and they're going to know he's inside of that. Surprisingly, though, they've not yet found it because there's just so many utility grenades being thrown, flashes, smokes everywhere, and Automatic. He's left in behind them, but where's his chance to strike? Finally, he'll do so. Bomb's not planted. It becomes an issue for NIP as it's just GetRight and Forrest remaining, and Forrest, good shot on the AWP. GetRight did take that from Shroud. I thought Forrest lined that up. It's all Skadoodle remaining, and he's got the ungodly position of overlooking the site.
Yeah, that was his chance to strike, though. Fires off the shot, can't make a connect, and now it's a chance for NIP to reposition, recalibrate, and they've actually sussed him out.
I don't even think he spotted. Okay, he did. I thought GetRight fired in. He was on vision, but he went for the pre-fire through the box. I wasn't sure he would realize that GetRight was that close, and he's going to be silent about getting away. So a save for Cloud9 to keep the op in play.
Yeah, it's a big round. Like I said, threats here now, and you can see his influence on the team. That's a pretty traditional call. The first gun round coming in, we know the CTs are going to be weaker, but it wasn't necessarily the case. A very back and forth round there. GetRight stepping up. He finishes with 3 frags and 12 HP, and Skadoodle, once he misses that first shot in heaven, didn't really have a chance. It has to rotate, change position. He's got no nades. No kit, had to find the kill very quickly at that point. Saving the AWP, certainly the best option, I would say, at that point. So he will save the AWP. Yet to post a frag on the board, but it's going to be 4-0 for NIP. Perfect start for them on the T side. And Skadoodle does save the AWP. His teammates are going to struggle to force around this. I think a partial buy would make sense at this point. You get the AWPs, maybe some Deagles, some 5.7, some body armor, and just send Skadoodle aggressive. That's something that he's had a lot of criticism towards him recently. He doesn't really have that killer instinct to go and find those frags necessarily. This is one of the rounds he does have to step up here. And automatic buys a UMP. I don't think that's a full commitment from him. He goes on the $1,600, so that's fine. Like we said, a few pistols, some body armor, and we'll see whether Skadoodle goes aggressive. And he's getting boosted up from B, so that's something. He's going to see if he can actually find this first frag.
Yeah, 1650 plus full loss bonus as it will be is fine. Especially if he gets a kill on that SMG, which he's trying to do and does. So he's definitely set for the next round as GetRight will go down. Exist Trying to hold station with the AK. Same angle, same positioning behind the sandbags. He's committed to it at this point in time. Smoke off is actually going to allow him to escape. Very small gap. They could have spotted his feet if they were playing down toward the monster tunnel on ramp, but that's not where they existed, and as such, Automatic's trying to take advantage of it, but it's too late. So 4 versus 4 as Pith continues to try and spray.
Yeah, well, still very possible for Cloud9 to pick up this round. They've actually rotated Skadoodle back towards the A site, seeing if they can funnel them towards him at this point, maybe push aggressive towards short, but only one flashbang remaining. That's in the hands of Stewie, who's towards the A site as well. So kind of going to be pushing off towards short, automatic. Hoping for the best there, drawn by nothing. Maybe boost above this smoke, we'll see where it works out for them.
Getting closer, spotted inside of the smoke. Just on the edge of it. Takes down Automatic. I'm not surprised that he actually spotted that easily, but maybe the foot showing X-ray can be misleading in that sense because we see the outline and assume they can't, and sometimes there is a little bit of detail where that line exists. But either way, it's Stewie that has to hold this off. Op again for Skadoodle is going to be saved over. We know it's a maximum lost round bonus, which means there's guns coming up for Cloud9. Inevitably, and keeping the op for 2 straight rounds is going to build up Skadoodle's economy as well, which means they could potentially get it out further down the line as well.
Yeah, so Stewie can certainly stay in the position and see if we can get an exit frag here. If he picks up an AK, that's certainly going to help out. He starts to strike at this point, trying to take anyone down with him, but unfortunately no kid, no chance of winning the round here. Might touch the bomb, not going to be the case, and he pushes off towards short. He might be going down. I think he's just outside the radius. He's okay, 25 HP. He saves body armor, and he actually picks up an AK or UMP towards the end. So at least that's something. Certainly a viable weapon these days. Maximum loss bonus, like he said, so it'll be $3,400, but it is 5-0 for an IP. And Forrest of the AWP himself. So we'll have a look. Cloud9 bring to the table to post their first round on the scoreboard here. Getting a little bit scary at this point. Skadoodle with a very good spawn towards B, so he's presumably going to take that, maybe face towards the monster tunnel. But now with Forrest on the AWP himself, I'm sure he'll be slowing things down, waiting for this aggression. And we'll watch Skadoodle. Molotov's good, but he wants to go through it. Let's see if he can actually pick up his first frag.
Forrest out toward long. AWP already has Pith in position to get the information to him. No one at corner, they know that. They'll start to take advantage. Bomb goes that direction as well as Stewie and Automatic stay inside the site. Cloud9 again, forced to go passive. Are not finding openings on the map early. Skadoodle's AWP once more has yet to find an early pick, playing in the water position. Now the one good thing about this is if somehow they can discourage the take from NIP, it's very early in the round that they've got control of long, which lends itself to execution. But if somehow they can convince them to go back over toward B, Skadoodle was posted and ready. That has changed as well. So Cloud9, in my opinion, they're just not getting enough information.
Yeah. Well, they pushed off towards short that time. It's got nothing for it. That's the problem. Obviously, it's Skadoodle trying to get some information there, maybe a first pick, but now back towards A, his more traditional position. Will be Shroud and nothing to defend the B side. They do have incendiaries. All the CT sides will save those for the final commitments from the terrorist side. As soon as you see the smokes coming over and the flashbangs come in, drop those towards short, towards Munster, trying to slow the T's down and make them waste their utilities. That's still a possibility here. It looks like it will be a set piece towards B to finish things off here for the Ninjas. As they start to set up here, you'll see smokes towards Heaven, the bomb site, flashes come in, push through Monster, and we'll see where the CTs react. There's the reaction with the incendiary. Does it actually work out for them? Yet to be seen. And nothing does pick up that first frag, but quickly replied by Freiburg.
Good response from Freiburg. Leaves Shroud to try and get an angle inside of water. In the pit position, he's going to try and open this up. Spots the lag before the smoke blooms. Bomb not yet in positions, just getting toward the pillar now, but they don't have confidence to plant it down. More so, because Automatic's gone aggressive and pushed up. Skadoodle now hits a shot on the AWP. Leaves them down a man, and Shroud's position gets Freiburg. They've got to commit to the bomb plant. Get Right does so, but he's left in a 1 versus 4, and Cloud9 quickly swarm the site.
Yeah, good job there. From Skadoodle, the rotation comes in from Heaven. He nails the shot this time. Like we said, CTs could kind of feel that one coming. There's a default round from NIP showing some presence towards long A. They're falling back that heavy set piece. The incendiaries get dropped as well as the smokes as well. You can see it was a bit of a clumsy affair from NIP. Couldn't really trade effectively, and Cloud9 wasting a lot of time there with the utility. And at that point, there was 9 seconds remaining. One of the players has to be sacrificed to plant that bomb. Doesn't really work out, and there it is. They pick up their first round, and I believe they kept how many players alive? Was that 4? Indeed it was. So Cloud9 in a decent position going forward. Losing this round still would be detrimental to them, of course, but it wouldn't be a full reset. They could certainly buy up in the next round. So we'll see whether Stewie this time with the AWP. Going aggressive towards middle, can make anything happen. Get Right wants to push towards B, it seems.
Get Right wants the one tap toward the headshot position. Getting ever closer to inching in on Shroud. With nothing down, they're rotating early as well with Skadoodle toward window to try and get a better posting for that AWP, which not only that, means he can rotate back to A still quite quickly, and he catches them off in the boost. Spotted but not taken down. Legged up is Skadoodle on his 74, but hits the shot on Get Right. And that brings it to 4 versus 4 and thwarts Nip's chances of trying to take a fast play onto B. They've got to rotate back and find more information.
Indeed. Get right, known to be lurking towards that B side of the map. Doesn't work out for him this time, but still a 4-on-4 advantage, still favoured towards the Ninjas at this point. They go towards that mid-control. Forest still with the orb. He will be challenging Skadoodle momentarily. That is if he decides to commit to that angle. You see Skadoodle just covering his back there, swinging off that part of the bathrooms, meaning that he just can't actually shoot him in the side. So maybe this encounter will come in as Forest decides to go a little bit further.
So Stewie again, just on leg day, jumping inside of the site, trying to get information where he possibly can. It's going to be a boost for Pith this time. Quick check to the right, and then a line up toward Bank. Skadoodle as well, forced back, has to play from default with the AWP. His angle's getting limited more and more as Forrest tries to bait out a flank. Shot into the side on the op and then immediately turns to the stairwell. Bomb is dropped though. Skadoodle's found the angle, so tight proximity, and he still manages to hit the shots, finds Freiburg as well. This should be round over. 7 seconds. Forrest, if he's gonna go down, has to go down now. If he thinks to save, it's already too late. Skadoodle hits that shot with a pistol, so a nice big round from Skadoodle, 4 kills.
Yeah, absolutely. Very nice stuff from him. Didn't really look too overwhelmed at that point. A lot of utility thrown towards that A side. Another set piece from NIP. You can see threat certainly back at the helm of things. Obviously, when he came in, that was what the mentality shifted towards, having more heavy tactics and actually focusing on defaults, moving into those set pieces. Exist doesn't really like that as much. He likes to use the defaults, more like classic kind of Fnatic style, but you can see Threat's influence coming into this team. That round doesn't really work out for them. 2 instances now, they've run out of time. And just to be said that, 2 frags come in for Skadoodle and Stewie. Very aggressive and works out quite nicely for them indeed.
Pith, meanwhile, wants to try and push back down into lower stairs and make sure that's cleared so they can regroup and gather back what they can. Cloud9 now finally getting to get things rolling early.
Yeah.
This, as well, is the end of the cash flow for NIP.
Absolutely. Well, they found these first 2 picks. Nothing really has to be done with the CTs now. You find those kills, you fall back to the bomb site. Huge advantage. Just frag for frag at this point. Don't need to do anything too crazy. Set up to crossfires. Skadoodle seems to be hitting every single shot right now, so just keep him in these standard positions. Doesn't need to overcommit.
Get right will work inside of bathrooms with Exist taking what's given to him at long. He's continuing to walk up, creep up with that single smoke down on the choke point and the entry point. Skadoodle's backed off and allowed it. He can't have vision, so play safe. No need to overcommit for Cloud9 in this situation. 43 seconds. Still a decent amount of time for NIP to capitalize if they were to do so. Pit still has bomb as well. Nothing in Shroud holding station on B, but Automatic's made his way to bank stairs. Stewie as well has truck covered off. So he'll wait for the entry point. Default plant. Pit's going to wrap around from long, so he won't see him on the way through. It's up to Skadoodle to shut them down, and inside of the smoke, that's too easy. NIP hoping they would get lucky. Not a chance. No utility thrown. They just want to walk in, catch them off guard. They're fully ready for it, but Exist, he's managed to pull back 2 kills, which gives Get Right ground to walk on, but it's another time situation. 9 seconds. Get Right knows he's in the stairs. Hits it, but 4 seconds. Does he get to it in time? Just barely. I don't think he's got...
He's got it.
Okay, I'm surprised. The point I was going to make is I don't think he had time to get it down because of the flank, not because of time itself, but they actually allow it and play it smart on the retake with 2 players and immediately get him. So cash injection for NIP nonetheless.
Yeah, but still they're losing those first 2 picks at the start. Once again, the bomb's going down, like 4 seconds to spare. NIP need to speed things up a little bit here. You can see they're clutching at straws, just walking through that smoke along. The new time is ticking away. Pep just sacrifices himself, and Skadoodle given another easy kill at that point. But 3 rounds in a row now for Cloud9 after going down 5-0. The bomb planted for NIP, like you said, but unfortunately, gonna have to take an eco at this point. Tech9's P250s, they've got some head armor as well to work on, so a partial buy, we'll call this, where with a couple of smokes. Those rounds normally end up towards B, as they head towards Connector. Will be Freiburg and Pit to clear out this position, and we'll see whether they end up towards that area, as it's going to be a slower round this time for Cloud9, not going as aggressive as before. They know it's very likely that NIP don't really have much to work with there.
Pith will rotate around with his team following on his heels. And you're right, not much to work with at all for Stewie, as he'll back away just in time for NIP, that is. Stewie, as well, is still going to sit and hold this position. He's got Skadoodle at long and Automatic inside of the site to play off of him, but he is getting pushed back ever so slightly, which is somewhat significant because if they can get a fast plant down for NIP, they've definitely got to buy in the next. It'll be 4 rounds plus bomb plant twice. Automatic's there. That should be an immediate trade, even if they catch Stewie off, who's on top of the the garbage can as well, which changes the headshot position, which against pistols could be enough to benefit him. Flash in instead, he goes aggressive. Nice shot from Pith in return. Grabs the gun, still has the bomb to work with. They're gonna go fast, and he's flamed off and forced into the corner. That's gonna make him commit, and Skadoodle hits the first shot, nearly repeaks it in time. Freiburg, that's the follow-up they needed. Now they've got a chance to get the bomb down quickly as Pith, he caught off nothing again, going for the flank. This is all turned. And this time, it's because Cloud9 give up just a little bit too much room. They go for the flash timing in, and the M4 picked up by Pith could almost close the round. Lovely shot from Shroud, but it's Freiburg up close.
That was a round Cloud9 pretty much should have run away with. All things considered, it's a very slow round once again from NIP. Cloud9 actually pushed out of B. They had Monster.
I don't know if I can hear you. Are you there?
I went back. Okay.
Hopefully that didn't
The point I was making is there was lots of information available for Cloud9. They pushed off towards short and Monster as well. They knew it was going to be an eco, and unfortunately that round just went away from them. Really great stuff from Pit overall, but a little blunder from Cloud9, I would say, as we go into round number 10. Money back in favour of NIP, and a chance to break the North American side as well. Yes, they have the AWP. You can see an MP9 for nothing. Not a very traditional weapon, but Skadoodle, he's making things happen. He's been great so far. Yep. That's his 11th frag and opens things up. Another 5-on-4 in their favour.
To be fair, it's Skadooey combo again, because Skadoodle's on 11, Stewie's on 8. It's 3-5-3 after that for Shroud, automatic nothing. It's those two that are doing the bulk of the work.
Yeah, well, when you find those opening picks as well, especially in these difficult rounds, that's his job done. He's got them the man advantage. Now the crossfires can come in. They can hope for those trades to come in once more, and that's a really nice way to open things up. A big round here for both sides in terms of the economical situation. Non-control coming in there from NIP. It'll be Exist and Pit towards that position, calling in Get Right as well. Freiburg that's holding the flanks for now. That has been a bit of a problem for them. Very slow and allowing Cloud9 to push off that B position in the previous round.
Exist clears bathrooms quickly with a flash thrown in from his teammate. It's Freiburg's turn to try and do the same at the front side. Fortunately, doesn't quite manage to do so through the smoke. So it's still the man advantage for Cloud9. A lot of A hits coming out of NIP as of late. Haven't fancied to go back toward that B site just yet. Freiburg's the closest to it. He's slowly making his way over to join Get Right as well. So 2-2 split with two men pushed up from Cloud9. It's Skadoodle that's looking for a shot inside the door. Nails it. Takes down Freiburg. He's got a support system in place with Stewie as well. So even if they find an opening at long, Stewie's there to wrap back, and it's Pith alone. Tagged through the wall. Does hit the shot. Automatic goes to 19, but he can't follow this up, and Stewie's able to take him down. I said it was automatic that was tagged. It was actually Skadoodle that was tagged either way.
Well,
5 stay alive.
All 5 players stay alive indeed. It's Skadoodle, the man in the skin right now, having an absolute blinder over the game. Looking very strong indeed. I have to say, NIP relying heavily on these executions towards the A and B site. So far, it hasn't been too great for them. Yes, they have an amazing start in terms of winning the pistol in the first gun round, but since the gun rounds really have come in properly, Cloud9 have run away with them. Still got a lot of work to do here. 6-4 down, but a double AWP set up this time for the North American side. It's going to be 2 AKs, 2 UMPs, and a Tech 9 for the Ninjas. So, very difficult round for them overall. And will this double AWP setup work in favour for Cloud9 here? It's going to be automatic with that secondary AWP. And he'll be towards A.
No deagle. There is an AK jumping. Scary thought. Shroud is going to play stage left rather. Right side entry of Monster. Yeah. Look, I confused that. It happens.
It does.
But he's waiting to catch them off and play off of nothing, who's actually quite far back. Yeah, okay, good to see him rotate up now. He's just gone over toward the barrels because he's got to be closer to support his teammate. He doesn't get there in time. They catch him on the way through with no opening for response, and that leaves the first kill for NIP. Good timing from nothing. Dinked up in return, though, I'm pretty sure through the edge of the platform itself, so he only goes to 61, but he's been smart to rotate. Doesn't spot the planner inside of the smoke, who goes for a nice little spin tactic to not get hit, and then backs away, Exists towards the Monster tunnel. Pith followed up as well by taking down Stewie. It's 2 players left for Cloud9. And they're limited with options. Smoke on the site's got to hold them off for a moment longer, but they spot Pith. They try and take him down behind the pillar. Success in doing so. Forrest able to trade it, and that leaves exactly the position for nothing to be found because they knew where he'd gone. And a lovely shot from Forrest on the UMP.
Yeah, absolutely. Really nice stuff from him. And Pit as well, with some influential frags there. That was a big round. You can see a sigh of relief from the coach. Threat, yeah, there it is. And he knows that was a big round for them to pick up. They were up against the wall at that point. Limited in terms of having a couple of AKs, some UMPs, and a pistol as well. But here's the influential play from Forrest. This final shot looked very nice from the CDPOV, and it certainly did from his as well. It's a good way from NIP to get back into the game, and it's going to be a full eco for Cloud9 at this point. Deagles, PT50s, they have a smoke and an incendiary, interesting enough, from nothing. See if that works out for him. Shroud picks up the first frag, but is this quickly shuts it down. Like we said, NIP very good at these anti-eco situations.
shots coming out from the UMP and the AK, but nothing does find one in return with the pistol, and Exist needs to be very careful. Thankfully, Forrest is the front line of defense, but they're both low. Exist gets taken down by Skadoodle, and it's a 1 versus 1 on a very fast play toward the water. Skadoodle's going to back away on this Deagle in hand. It's Freiburg on an AK, and he's going to sit tight and try and watch the bomb. He knows Skadoodle's lurking in these positions in this area. And Freiburg has the lineup. Doesn't hit the shot, 23 HP, and Skadoodle with no armor. That's a massive problem.
Yeah. Well, still a minute remaining as well. Freiburg knows he can probably get that bomb. He's done significant damage towards Skadoodle. It's going to take a hell of a 1D here. Not meant to be. Freiburg picks it up. Stays calm in that situation. He finds 3 kills. It was a little bit ropey towards the end there, but still they pick up the much needed anti-eco situation and 8-4 in favor of NIP. Now we'll see whether that double orb setup comes in once again. I don't think it's actually possible. Skadoodle surely going to pick up the orb once more. He's at 13 kills, 7 deaths at the moment. He's looking and in very good form. Probably the best form I've seen since Pro League, to be fair.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens here. NIP. Another full buy and coming into the closing sector here of the first half.
So bomb dropped intentionally by NIP back toward T stairs. Look for picks to start off the round. Forrest on the AWP is posted out toward the park, making sure no one's going to push up at long A. It's Pith and Get Right that are waiting for the exchange once more from Cloud9. Here we go, aggressive twice now inside of Water and Shroud. Massive exchange and a victory for him because he takes down Get Right and Pith is tagged to 2.
Yeah, this Cloud9 actually doing very good work. They've read that he's very slow rounds coming in from NIP. They're allowing him to have that short control as well. Normally you're going to be dropping the Molotov at the start of the round to stop that push coming in, but Cloud9 are willing to push through it, find that first frag. That Shroud picking things up there. Once again, got himself in an advantageous position. So full back at this point. Shroud does go down to 47 HP, but look at the damage he's done towards Pit as well. That's a very successful push from his perspective. 1 minute mark comes in. Freiburg will be clearing out the connector position, but once again, Cloud9 just need to hold up. And Skadoodle presumably back towards A in a tighter position.
Pith, the flash to go over. Forrest, that monster, trying, never mind. Capitalize on that. Pith's very low, sacrificial at this point almost as he gets through the smoke. They've actually blinded him up. He's going to get a kill in the response. Turns around and finds another 2 HP for Pith. As he evades nothing, a great entry, good use of utility, and it's Forrest on top of the site that has a Molotov and an AWP, but a gap in the smoke nearly cost him as he goes down to 51. But pushing forward with the op, that leaves him in a very tight position, and his teammate who's planted the bomb has gone down. They know he's in the water. They're going to time this peek. Doesn't even matter. No chance he was going to hit that shot in that situation.
Yeah. Pith with a bit of a wonder play there as he comes towards the B side, but at that point, as soon as his teammates go down, Forrest is left in a horrible scenario there. 3 versus 1, finds the first frag, but you can see Cloud9 just operating nicely as a unit there, making sure they face at the same time. Even if he hits 1 kill at that point, there's no way he's going to win, especially in that really horrible position for an AWP. So good work from Cloud9 as we go to round number 14. Very back and forth affair so far in terms of the latter stages of this half. It really did kick off with a swarming NIP victory in terms of the 5-0, but here we go then, another Rico for NIP. The Steagles, PT50s, they have 1 flashbang to work with, and you can see Cloud9 once again. Skadoodle wants to get aggressive here as he pushes towards that fountain. Does spot a player and he hits him as well. Forrest goes down to 43 HP, so good work from him. Spots him and he can call at that point. It's going to be an eco, so just fall back once again.
So Cloud9 inching closer again to getting back into this game. Scoreline seems slightly one-sided. That's due to the start. 5-0 was where this was. That's 5 out of the last 9 now for Cloud9, so they've split pretty evenly. Or 5 out of the last 8. Math's hard. But it was all NIP, and it took Cloud9 a while to build it and get the information required. Double save as well. They're being smart about leaving the AWP in Skadoodle's hands, and it's definitely paid off.
Yeah.
For the bulk of this game. He's out at bathrooms at this point in time, and Freiburg is in there, but they're getting closer at long, and Stewie, he's not yet ready to where the park side needs to turn and does. Skadoodle does hit his shot. Stewie's found another, and yes, okay, I was going to say, got taken down by automatic. I was trying to figure out how his name showed up there like about 10 times.
Yeah.
But Cloud9 win the round.
Yeah. Well, it's Cloud9 up against pretty much full eco there. It was Skadoodle spotting it at the very start there, did some damage. They fell back, and he hits more and more shots, it seems. He's up to 15 kills right now. A very quiet performance from Forrest overall. He's obviously the rival AWP on the other side. He's only going to have 6 kills. So he's been pretty quiet overall. Round number 15. And MP7 for Pitts. An interesting decision. But we'll see whether more aggression comes in from Cloud9 here. They were going to push off towards short, as I mentioned before. The Molotov works out. The boost is going to be the retort from Cloud9. Doesn't really work out for them. Flashbangs come in once again. Some wall bangs for Skadoodle. Unsuccessful so far.
And Get Right actually got forward of that boost. They knew he was there. It was his teammate that walked in second. Exist toward construction that actually did the damage in the exchange, which made things a little bit awkward for the first 5 or 6 seconds of spotting each other inside of this position. Exist tries to line up the shot toward barrels as well. Meanwhile, Freiburg has gone back around with Exist to try and hold off any chance that they're rotating back out through bathrooms and start to evaluate the A site, because they're not really getting much progress over toward B, to be fair. Skadoodle's waiting as well with the AWP in hand. It's more at bathrooms as Stewie behind him. Automatic still down at B, has to get a rotation in relatively soon. Skadoodle smokes off one side. That'll make his job a little bit easier. Doesn't have as much to worry about. He's going to play a very tight angle, and I would assume fall back toward Truck, where last time he did, picked up 4 kills in the round, 3 of which on the AWP when they entered. Meanwhile, Exist and Forrest are still trying to evaluate towards Stewie at long, and already Skadoodle's gone passive. Still wants to try and figure this out. Push through from Stewie. That's a bit bold. And I'm not 100% certain as to why. Perhaps thought that he was going to be overwhelmed from the front of the site. As Skadoodle now goes down in that position. I didn't quite catch what was going on at Skadoodle's position, because you would have thought the crossfire was set, but Stewie gives himself up. Get Right's going to take down Automatic, and the A site this time is definitely in control of NIP. It looks like 9-6 will be the scoreline, and I would say that kill definitely confirms it. It's Shroud 1 versus 5.
I'll kind of explain what Stewie's trying to do there. Obviously, there's like 20, 15 seconds remaining in the round. There's a smoke down on his side of the map. He's expecting, when he pushes through that smoke, the NIP have all the remaining grenades in their hands. He's pushing through, trying to catch them off guard. Doesn't work out from Existed ready for it. So he's known for those kinds of play. He hasn't really done it much recently successfully, but that was actually, it was a calculated risk, I would say. If he pushes through and finds a grenade in his hand, he finds 2 or 3 kills at that point. Unfortunately, Exist was ready for it, shuts it down, and it will be an NIP victory there. 9-6 will be the first half score. So after going up 5-0, Cloud9 did a very good job to get back into the half, I would say. They're actually locking it down. NIP a much slower paced game than I'm used to seeing from them, actually relying heavily on the very slow defaults, going to those full executions, and not leaving themselves a lot of time to finish the round off as well. I feel like that was a bit of a flaw in their game plan overall, but after the 5-0, you do well to actually throw that half away. So they recover towards the end, especially that last round as well. The MP7, 4 AKs, managing to pick up that last one with the mistakes made by the CT. So they're looking quite high spirits right now. The hand warmers coming out for Pip. Chilly hands, perhaps. Rare thing in Las Vegas to be cold, but you know, lots of air conditioning.
Air conditioning, yeah. Exactly. I remember when, and we are going to be going to Dallas, Texas this year with Pro League. I remember in Dallas, it was a conundrum, because outside was this thick blanket of hot air, and you'd go outside and you'd be sweating, but then you'd go inside, and because of how hot it was, they cranked the AC, and then you're freezing, so you'd wear a sweater inside. So similar, not quite to that extent here. Well then, swap half, then NIP on the CT's half now, and in terms of the buy, something a little bit more technical from Cloud9. A Molotov, smoke, 2 flashbangs as well. Exist, he'll be the aggressor towards mid, but has been spotted. They'll have to fall back at this point, and we'll see whether Cloud9 wants to head up towards B or the A side of the map. But that Molotov, I would suggest that's going to be Molotoving towards a barrel position, smoking heaven, and possibly the bomb side itself. And they are going to go for some short control as well. Nothing maybe waiting to be flashed over as they hold up here. Chance to walk right into the B side as well. At least through the mouth of the monster. And then get confronted from the jungle. But the Molotov changes that, because now it's Get Right and Forrest playing, or rather Freiburg playing the exact same angle. So they go for the boost, which is likely the best situation. What a shot from Automatic, though. The only lineup they possibly could have had, and Automatic nails it with a Glock, no less. And he's going to look for more as he transits back over toward underneath of balcony, over toward the wooden boards. And it's Stewie that's going to support him by peeking out and getting information that they are pushing on. The rest of them outside of the site are holding for the post-plant situation if they go to the defused. And right now it's Freiburg that has the kit, but 16 HP for him. He's almost the high HP player. It's Exist on 78. His teammate Forrest lower, and now he is the high HP player because Exist gone inside of the smoke. He's desperate to try and get on it, but there's the knife. Stewie just waits, and money gained. It's desperate, but I like it. Freiburg just jumps in the smoke, tapping E, hoping to find the bomb there, but it obviously makes a hell of a lot of noise and actually ends up giving them a knife frag there, which is $1,500. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, that's the thing. I get the mentality. I might as well go for it, but he gives them $1,500 extra in doing it. Sure. Well, to be fair, that looked like it was quite tailor-made for the NIP defense in terms of where they used the Molotov. Like I said, it's normally used for that barrel position, but they actually seemed like they knew that NIP probably got a passive hold towards B. The Molotov lands in the CT entrance, forces the player out of position. The smokes land at the same time as well. It's actually a really nice round from Cloud9, holding the connector position. Like you said, a really good shot to open things up. And I'm watching the pistol there from the North Americans. We go into the second round, and of course, once again, NIP not forced buying to this. I did say this is going to come more and more into the game of CSGO. It was kind of
the meta overall. You lose the first round, you're automatically forcing to the second round. A lot of teams getting away from that. There's some CZs and one HE grenade for Get Right. So should be quite a simple procedure here for Cloud9. They've got quite a heavy rifle setup, not a single SMG, one scout into the mix with 3 AKs and a Galil. And exact same mentality as NIP. Get that slow map control, flash yourselves in, make sure you're using the buddy system. If anyone goes down, you're in there, getting that refrag straight away.
Shroud starts to get aggressive.
Perfect.
He finds one, Stewie comes down from above.
Really good timings. It's coming in from the connector entrance from middle as well, and splitting at the same time. You can hear lots of footsteps in their CT positions. They're hoping that crossfire works out for them, but it's shut down. At this point, still got 45 seconds remaining, a 5-on-3. You know they're on eco. You've detected there's no head armor when you've shot this head, so absolutely fine. Slow things down. Going as a 5 at this point, and it should be 5 players surviving here for Cloud9. Should be.
Should be. We'll see if that holds true. Because right there was a chance to find a kill. Nothing.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'll have more of that, please. There's nothing. Okay, that's the kill that goes against them. It's Get Right waiting, and nothing walks into it, doesn't expect it. But as we can see, painted vividly in the top left corner, the bomb is now planted on A. All 4 in that direction. They're actually going to take Get Right down. They want to try and hunt this gun out of his hands.
Yeah, I was very impressed by Cloud9 in that round, but nothing putting on a show towards the B side of the map. He goes down eventually to Get Right. He saves a Galil here, so that's pretty much his best option at this point. Take that weapon into the next round. It is a rifle, not the best one, but certainly can have some impact in the hands of someone like young Christopher. We'll see what he can do. There's the scoreboard right now. Get Right is leading the charge for NIP, 14 frags. We did say as far as having a much quieter game than anticipated. Certainly 2016 was the star player, I'd say, for NIP overall, but
Did get the highest rating.
we've casted them recently in Pro League, and they have been very,
We
very
expected
poor.
more. This was a discussion point at Pro League because we thought with the absence of the major, there's definitely two minds. The one that we would have expected is that they put in the time, they're putting in the effort, watching the major, studying teams, and making sure they're doing their due diligence to come back stronger. The other is, well, who do you scrim against? Because most of the top teams in your realm are at the major.
I was expecting them to put a lot of time into the theory. Obviously, with like the online games, you're not going to give too much away as to changing things. This is when will be a real gauge as to what they've done in that spare time. So that's what I'm waiting for, to see how they perform in this tournament. But like we said, Get Right saves like Galil, pretty much their only lifeline into this round. Nothing really purchased around SCZ, a couple of HE grades, and a P250. That's about it. So whether Get Right can do anything with it, yet to be seen. He's going to be boosted up towards short, and let's see if he can do anything with it. A little bit clumsy at the moment, but doesn't spot anything towards short at the moment. At least that's some info gathered. But another very passive hold for the terrorists. They'll be making their way towards long at this point, and that's, as we always say, the safest place to go when you know up against an eco. Very long range encounters, and you flash yourself into bathrooms and work together as a unit. There's a flash.
Yeah, Stewie's going to check it as soon as that flash comes in. They go together. You nailed it. It's like you used to do some of this yourself.
Yeah.
Let's Get Right, and Pith will rotate back over toward A. It's Shroud that's left to make sure there's no one immediately on the flank. As said, she's clearing out the tunnels now. And another boost for Get Right. To give vision on top of the A site. Very passive boost, mind you. Especially with smoke execution, that's going to be a bomb play, inevitably.
It's just like the novelty players coming in, hoping that Galil has some sort of impact here. Very unlikely, as we do commit towards the A side of the map. 4 players coming towards long. There's not really much Get Right can do about this. He'll be smoked up, presumably, towards bank at this point. There it is, and now he just has to push through, hope for the best, wait for the plant, and we'll see whether he can make anything happen here with the only lifeline that NIP have.
He's trying that smoke out.
Yeah.
Feeling it out. He's
It's like
elected to stay.
he knows he's almost a suicide at that point. If it's through that, he's definitely dead. Maybe to save it again.
Leroy.
Yeah.
Nah, he thinks better of it. He's still inching for an angle to try and get damage economically done to Cloud9. Longer you keep them around the bomb, better chance you can get them in the detonation phase. Take them down with the bomb as it goes off. And Get Right's looking to try and capitalize. They nearly give him a chance to get 2. He does get automatic down. Stewie responds, but here we go. Pack of bees. Not really sure that's a pack. It's more of a swarm of bees. Trying to hold off near the bomb site, and they've actually done massive economic damage. The bomb's going to go off. Guns picked up, and I think Pith and Forrest are a little bit close, so the guns go down. Freiburg manages to keep his AK-47, though, but 4 players killed from Cloud9 in the post plant.
Yeah, that's actually pretty decent. It was a really successful round from Cloud9 until that point. So Get Right coming with that Galil does open up the window of opportunity for the CD to strike, like you said, taking down most of the weaponry there for Cloud9. And they saved an AK as well, NIP. So that's going to be in the hands of Freiburg. That certainly helps balance the books after losing the pistol. So they've got the AWP in the hands of Pit. That's quite standard. It's Forrest up in the T side, and then Pit swaps over to the CT side. And he seems to be the more defensive style AWPer as we go into round number 19 here. 9-9, we tie things up, and it will be, of course, Skadoodle back on the AWP, and Exist opening things up there towards that connected position as well. Very prevalent part of the map. That's an interesting move from Forest. Why you're by yourself? There's no real reason to give that kill away. Obviously, he's waiting for the reaction from the T's to see if they go through that door, but now he gives his kill away for free, and that gives the advantage back towards Cloud9.
Otto, meanwhile, checking out toward the fountain, has bomb in hand. Skadoodle's been watching it long to make sure there's no push up, and it's been anything but. Pitt's gone back inside of the site in our 4 versus 4 with 1 minute and 7 on the clock. So slow and steady. It's Cloud9 check all angles.
Yeah, well, still 1 minute remaining as well. Lots of grenades to work with here. Flashbangs, Molotov, a couple of smokes as well. And it's going to be down to Pip here, I think. The pressure is on his shoulders as he looks towards long. No one in that position whatsoever. It's actually going to be a mid-attack from Cloud9. It still could go back if they wanted. They could drop the smokes and run back towards B. I'd say that's unlikely at this point. But it looks like it's the final commitment.
Get right. Oh. Tries to flash out, bounces the wrong way off the exhaust of the truck, but it doesn't matter because he's exhausting the entry as he takes down like Stewart. It's automatic though immediately after. Gets him back and bomb planted as a result. Question is for NIP, we know with Threat here how efficient he likes to be in the economy game.
Yeah.
Do they go immediately or do they hold true and keep the 2 guns they've got? Because there's no kits in hands. I think there's one down over toward long where Pith was playing.
I think at this point we've got to find 3 kills and find that kid as well. I just don't think it's worth it. Looks like they will be committing at this point, but it's just not possible in my opinion.
So Freiburg found the kit that went down behind the truck. That's Get Right's kit. Gives them a chance. Low HP. He's going to tap it immediately, but they've got to hit the shots. And it's Exist that finds the first. He knows the other angle's the doorway. He's going to get on this. Lines up the second automatic. He falls down. Shroud's got to peek this at the right time. He hits Exist, but that's not the planter. It's Freiburg that holds the defuse.
That's so nuts. How have NIP got away with that one? Like he said, the clutch kit picked up there. Good communication from the NIP as they come back into that site. It's a massive call to go for that retake at that point. They come in, and a couple of blunders there overall. Like he said, they touch the bomb. It baits out one player from Cloud9. It's a 3-on-2 situation. I thought they had such a huge advantage. There's no way NIP could even find a kill there. Skadoodle doesn't nail the shot. He gets dinked, taken down, and then one by one they have to face. They know the full defuse is coming in. Perfectly played by NIP, and they take the lead here, 10-9. And we'll see whether Cloud9 can get back into this one. They do have another buy available. Still the AWP, but nothing. He's down to the Tech 9. That's such a cool play from NIP. Such confidence in their ability there. Like you said, that kit picked up. That's a crucial factor. I didn't realize they actually had the possibility to find that on the site there, but Freiburg gets the information. Since he gets it, all bets are off, apparently. And we go to the advantage back towards the Swedes.
And what a job done to defend Freiburg as he was defusing that.
Yeah, right. They knew, because they knew the full defuse coming in. They have to go for it, so they have to face it. Low HP at that point. Really, really well done.
And the positioning as well on it. Pith, he now with an AWP will look toward the front of the site once more at Bathrooms. Get Right's going to play immediately on top of him, but they both go down. Get Right manages one before doing so. It's Forrest that was found as well, so Pith rotated back in. And the double setup was 2 rifles. The headshots there, Pith can't find it. Still a 2 versus 2. That changes again. Skadoodle with 2 kills on an op entry, close range. Again, showing good form in this game as Automatic's going to get a default plant. This time, surely they have to convert. It's Freiburg alone, has a kit, the one carried over.
Yeah.
But no one to save him, no one to be the meat shield, almost, as it was last time. His hero, his wingman, as he starts to clear the site. He's going to fancy his chances again. Post plant's a very similar setup. No low HP this time around, and it is Skadoodle's op tag already. As he gets clipped through the edge of the box. Taps immediately. Likes to go to the M4. Nails the shot with it, but he's still got to pull the second player out, and he's going to try and hold this. He's going to try and hold this off and catch them out, but Automatic reads it and gets there just in time.
That was really nice by Freiburg. That's pretty much all he could have done to win the round at that point. He finds that first kill, isolates one of the players, he taps the bomb, one of them has to face to that point. They're still hoping, even if he goes down, it can make it a 1v1 situation. He nails that first shot, goes to the full defuse. I actually really like that. A lot of players would fake the defuse at that point, try and do the same again, but I'm not falling for it this time, and that's actually a massive outlet to pick up. That resets the economy of NIP down to just pistols, nothing really invested apart from a smoke, a couple of PT-50s and some CZs, and 1 flashbang. So, I'm going to be fully aware of the situation. You see Shroud there, just with the Mac 10 on your screen right now. Doing out the connector, of course, by himself. He's got back from Skadoodle as well. He's okay. As he gets information, that's going to be clear. So NIP, quite a passive hold this time. These CZs, see whether they can make anything happen. Very unlikely. As we once again, Cloud9 probably going back towards long, or full execution towards B. Those are probably the most viable options at this point.
Nothing likes to fall back. Bounce Molotov will go over to the corner side of the bathrooms with Pitts forward of that. Good play from Shroud to find one. Gets the second as well. Money, money, baby, as you would say, Henry G.
It's very relevant in Vegas.
It is very relevant. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Will you blow on my dice later?
Yeah, if you ask nicely.
I think I will. As Freiburg 1 versus 5 is going to be put to rest surely in this round. 10-10 goes to 11 for Cloud9. So they'll take the lead. And a late lead on T side isn't necessarily a sure thing, especially with guns to be bought once more. I say that. Nip's not really in the best position. They're almost double eco,
It was a really, really rough round for them in the previous one. I don't think they can buy for this at all. I think it's about 3K across the board for each player, so another partial buy here. Cloud9 going to be fully aware. They're going to upgrade the SMGs there, but still, NIP with second stage lost when there's a pause comes in. I was about to say that makes a lot of sense at this point. Take the time to just work out what's going on here. Am I saying timeout? A bit of chat going on here. I just want to work out what's going on. Shroud says quick. So why would he say quick?
Well, I'm not sure. I assume that's technical then? Pause, timeout. Oh, okay. Shroud, I think it is tactical, and Shroud's just being a funny man.
That is hilarious. But yeah, just a chance now to work out what's going to be going forward. They've got 3K in the bank, pretty much average across the board, so they're not going to buy into this round. Just a chance to slow things down, Threat to give his input, kind of like suggest what his ideas are going forward on the CT side, whether they're going to go aggressive, or they want to bring out the AWP again. And obviously, they're not going to be buying after this round, but it means they know what's going to happen going into their next gun round. So Pitt's been on the AWP so far. It's been, I'd say, relatively unsuccessful so far. It's going to be one round picked up for the Ninjas so far in the second half. It's 5-1, sorry, if you're looking just at the second half. So a good chance to Threat to give his speech. And like we said, this team has been in ruins recently. Not making it to the major. Really rough start to the year. Pro League as well. Not the NIP we're used to. I guess in 2015 you could say that's what we're used to seeing. 2016 though, they won a couple of big tournaments.
I wouldn't even say that's what. I mean, not making a major for the first time. That was huge.
That's
like even all the other pro teams were stunned that the thought of NIP.
Do you remember that game against Vega? Like, and everyone was like in the player lounge. Everyone was like kind of cheering, like what was happening. They couldn't believe it. Then when it actually happened, everyone just went silent. They thought,
yeah,
NIP's not actually gonna be a major.
When it was like 13-2, whatever the scoreline was, they were all for it. And then all of a sudden the realization hit. Like, wait a minute, we're not gonna have. We were in that room
and it's like, this is nuts. Yeah, NIP like the first time won't be at a major. It's actually happened.
Yeah, and even to your point about 2015, even when they were in that slump, it wasn't like they were. You got to remember, NIP was getting not quite the Astralis level of top fours, but they were getting top 8s, top 4s pretty regularly. They weren't necessarily making finals, but it wasn't like a massive dramatic drop off like we saw from Envious, for example, who we expected nothing from at the start of last year, 2016. So this to not make the major, which is also in stark contrast to them winning Oakland just before that, was a bit of a shocker, I have to say.
I guess is why Threat's been brought in. He hasn't been in the event for like the last 5 months, I would say, at this point. He was influential to getting them back into the form when they kind of had their revitalization, but automatic this time. Very fast towards B, but Freiburg shuts him down. Lovely shot there with the one. Big, but
side open, B open. They stack up on A. They're going to go aggressive to try and rotate around, but Stewie's waiting for this. I think they know he's there because he just threw the flash, so that would have been spotted by Exist. Pop flash out. Flames extinguished, and they'll try and pursue this AK. That's a win situation for them. What a spray from Stewie. Forrest. Gun to be grabbed. 1 versus 3. Bomb already planted. Sit back. The double eco. Try and get an AK. That would be nice. Nice shot as well, and nothing. And he didn't have armor, so nothing missing that first shot against him, which would have sent his aim to the roof. Actually kind of interesting in that suggestion. Forrest will rotate around and try and do more damage where possible, knowing as well that it's 2 men. Let's not overcommit to the hunt. They go back to babysit the bomb. So this is round done. It'll be Cloud9 going up 12-10. Nip with an AK grabbed. And we'll be in a situation where they'll be able to buy quite comfortably in the next round. A position where they could get an AWP. I'm going to try and bring this back.
Forrest does save the AK-47. That's going to help balance the books. As we said before, saving an AK can be very good just to drop it over the player. Might have a little bit less money than the others and can actually help him get grenades and kits and maybe even AWPs. That's where Pitt will be hedging his bets this time as he gets the AWP out once more. Hasn't been too great so far. He's going to be more of a defensive AWP. We'll see whether he can actually go aggressive this time. It's going to be Forrest over a decent spawn with the AK. He'll be interested to see whether he can actually open up the map here at all. And Pitt goes back towards long and will jump onto the flower bed. Pretty standard position for him. Got to make that jump first though. There it is. to be heavily challenged here. 4 players of the Terrorists straight towards long. Doesn't hit that first shot.
Pith seems to be great at hitting large targets when there's a sliver or a fraction of a player to shoot at. He's missed a few of those. As Automatic's going to take down Forest as well in the bathrooms. Pith goes back for more, and Skadoodle's holding the angle. That's 2 men down already. Cloud9 on a challenge of a gun round from NIP.
This is the problem with NIP, not having a really superstar AWPer. They're always just kind of crowbarring it in there, and you can see it's really affecting them right now. Automatic running away with this round, his second frag, and we go into a situation where just Freiberg can exist, and that's been a real problem with this NIP lineup, I would say.
Yep.
Since they lost Michael Ellie, when he came in just to sub for them, they looked great, right? He was like that flashy AWPer. He could be relied on to open the map up for them, but once they get back to this lineup, the original one with Pitt, obviously he was injured at that point, it's always been a problem for them. If Get Right and Forest aren't delivering huge amount of frags, and I'll talk over this final bit, there's nothing Freiburg can really do here. I mean, unless they're delivering, like having superstar performances like they have been in the tournaments they've been winning, this is when they start to drop off, and no one's finding the frags, no one's really having that massive impact. The AWPer's not really there for them, and Pitt, he's
You know
good,
what
he
the
can be
solution
decent.
is?
Go on.
Just bring Faflaren back.
That's probably it.
I think
you've
I've cracked the code. Freiberg cracks into the site, finds Stewie. There was a chance for elevation in my voice because it looked like he could have got the bomb carrier on the way to the site as well, which would have caused a bit of chaos, but he goes down as you expected, and it makes it 13-10. As mentioned as well, that was a gun round from NIP.
This has to be another eco, I think. We do have Forrest, like we said, he set that weapon before. He has 6k, but most of his teammates sub 3,000 with 13-10. Almost certainly going to be 14-10. They're not going to invest much in this round. CZ, body armor, a couple of Deagles, 5-7. Not really much to report. Smoke as well. Cloud9 going toe-to-toe right now with those Jules. They're looking much better in terms of firepower. Stewie's playing great. Automatic as well. Back to business as usual, it seems, to these guys on the T side especially. Still only 1 round established so far for NIP on the second half. The CT half, 7-1. And right now we're getting to the closing sector here. NIP need to find something. They've already used their tactical pause, so like I said, almost certainly going to be 14-10. NIP will have decent money, maximum loss when it's into the next round, so just trying to dent the economy any way they can. Have Cloud9 not really a massive deal considering Skadoodle and Shroud have 8k and nothing not too far behind them. There we go. They do find a P250 kill.
Starts it off. Shroud's there immediately after. Watch his spray because it gets a little wild. He's low on HP.
He jumps
and
there.
Pith is able to take advantage. Did he actually get the jump in?
Yeah,
or was
no.
it just the stair elevation that I saw?
No, Shroud did jump. I'm not sure. Obviously, we talked about that scroll wall, but that's kind of ancient history. It doesn't really happen. Maybe it's a panic jump from him.
Hit the edge of the keyboard. I can't imagine because his aim would have already been set. Freiberg flashed off, tries to play an angle favorable to hold off the B site. Rotation's coming around and Forrest going for a flank. Pith is already at sandbags. Good position with the AK, shuts them down on the way through, tries to pre-fire, but what that does is bait his teammate in. Lovely shot from Skadoodle to take down said teammate as Freiberg gets found, but Forrest has arrived. Bomb dropped. Cloud9, 1 versus 2. It's Stewie that has to try and pull this back. They know where the bomb is. Smoke still holding it off temporarily. That's going to allow him to get toward it, but Forrest, he's going to slip in the monster. And that bomb being planted in entirety leaves Forrest to take him down. Never mind the bomb plant going in. Not important. Nip's going to pick up the round.
Cloud9 are going to be so gutted at that. That was their chance to really get themselves in an advantageous position. 14-10. That was pretty much a full eco from NIP as well. They get themselves an AK at the start there with the P250, and Shroud with that awkward jump goes down to a situation there, funneled towards the B sides, and then Forrest coming in with a decent flank, picking up a couple of weapons on their way, and they get themselves right back into this game. It's 13-11 now. Like we said, they were at the point of maximum loss bonus, and that's going to work even better for them. Saving a couple of rifles from the previous round, and Pitt now back on the AWP. Really need to start arriving this weapon as we go into round number 25. Of course, Cloud9, like we said before, lots of money available for them. There's the Molotov towards short, that stops any aggression from the CT side, and Pitt once again towards middle. More aggressive this time, flashed off, fires for shots, so they'll have to fall back.
Forrest will do a similar step in doing so toward long, as Pith will join him inside of the A site. Bomb with Skadoodle and Automatic still at Park. Leaves quite a bit of separation between the two teams. So no immediate contact to report as nothing. Backs away as well for Monsters. The smoke dissolves and leaves Freiberg potentially exposed. Pith and Forrest that likely to be the ones under threat first. Get right on the rotation as he plays at jungle. And with a 4-man front from Cloud9, split on all facets. Nothing toward Monster. Shroud down below in the stairwell. Automatic front bathrooms and Stewie at long. Skadoodle then having the bomb means that they can take this anywhere still.
So Stewie towards long, he'll be the kind of salesman in terms of the fake at this point. Like we said, he likes to push through smokes. Probably going to do that again. If he can find one kill here, that would be so massive for his team. You sure? Oh,
easily will. Pith was scoped in, looking at bathrooms, had no idea he was there. In fact, Stewie could have elected for trigger discipline, but doesn't need to. Hits Forrest, and Salesman delivers because it forces Get Right to rotate onto the A site. Freiburg, however, has gotten a single kill and nothing. So the call is this. You've got the rotation from Get Right, but you've lost an entry at B, and Freiburg's not budging. Now do you take Stewie's information and try and get back to A? You can't. There's no time. There's no time to do it. They've got to rotate around and catch off Exist. This actually fails on timing alone. Skadoodle's going to slip in from Monster. Freiburg's caught between two, and Bomb gets dropped. 6 seconds, has to stay alive. Low HP. Freiburg does it on his own.
Freiburg, that's such a sick play from him. Like, how does he read that so perfectly? It's Stewie, goes in towards that A site. He finds the 2 frags. They think it's over. And they're going back and forth, like he said, 10 seconds remaining. They're kind of panicking a little bit.
They had to wrap through A.
Yeah, and this is a really nice play from Stewie. I thought Brown over this point. He finds 2 kills. How do you lose this scenario? But Freiburg sticks to his guns. He thinks, okay, if they do come B, they do make a mistake at this point, like they do, I win the round. There's 5 seconds remaining. His footsteps as well. Knows he's still under danger at that point, but Freiburg finds 4 kills in that round, stays alive to the very last moment there, and steals it away from them.
And the clutch is great, but the first kill is what really sets it up, because at that point, they'd already lost 2 on A, with Get Right rotating. If he doesn't hit that single kill on B, it's over then.
You have to ask yourself, why is Nothing committing by himself towards B? They find those 2 frags. They're panicking at that point. Now they're thinking, okay, instead of being calculated, thinking, okay, we have a 5-on-3, why don't we go in as a unit and trade frags? Nothing runs in by himself through Monster. He goes down, and that's really the turning point of the round. Like you said, they start panicking a little bit at that stage. They start thinking, okay, they're back into this round now. Should we go back towards A? Stewie's got the control of the side, but we could go back towards B, but Freiburg has found a kill there, and he keeps finding more and more. And at that point, they're running out of time, and you could see how it fell apart towards the end there. Amazing stuff from Freiburg. Let's be clear about that, but Nothing. I think that's an absolute blunder from him, the fact he gives that frag away when it's not necessarily required. They need to really slow down those scenarios. Stewie's pretty much single-handedly won the round. He's the in-game leader. He's maybe thinking, okay, is it really worth this even being a fake at this point? I've got 2 kills, this bomb site's open, and if you're going to commit, all the team needs to go in. The 4 players that are towards that B side of the map, they need to be pushing in. Tactical timeout, much needed at this point. Cloud9 will be tilting off the face of the planet right now, especially Stewie, the in-game leader. I know these guys, very young, very emotional as well. Nothing, obviously the most experienced player. He's like the dad figure almost. He's trying to calm them down, and they'll be arguing now. They'll be bickering as to what went wrong. They're trying to find blame and try and work out who made the big mistake, and that's sometimes the worst characteristic of this team overall. I know they do bicker a lot, and a pretty much unlosable situation, I'd say, considering what Stewie did at the start of the round. They're going to be going to
Get Right
here.
Praying Mantis right now.
That's he's making himself a new GIF, is he? What is
I
this?
guess so. I think he's just stretching out.
Has he got like a neck issue right now?
I'm wondering. Yeah, he's got that one of those. I think they're a heat. I'm not sure. Someone. It's usually some sort of anesthetic pad.
It was a rough flight here.
Yeah.
He was on the same one as me. Maybe he had some neck injury there, a cramp going on. But yeah, that's where Cloud9 could fall apart at this point. That was such a massive round. Well played to Freiburg. So just Tech9's here, partial buy from the North Americans. NIP looking very likely to tie things up at 13-13.
To tie things up at 13-13 when this could have easily been 14-10.
It's kind of nuts. Let's think about it now. That's a full eco NIP of 1 in the round before that, and they come back in that scenario where Stewie's done an amazing play all day, and it falls apart like that. That's when you're just getting really, really wound up. You're just thinking, that's what I'm predicting the arguments beginning. I'm going to speak to them after to see whether that happens.
Nothing. Flashed off is going to work with Stewie together. No aggression from NIP. They know the situation. They know the money. Forrest does start to get closer, but has to be controlled. A1S goes low on ammo, goes to the pistol, stays alive. That baits Pith into the play. Bomb drop temporarily, and Pith, it's a shooting gallery. There's one in Vegas I think you guys visited, but he misses the shots on the way through. It's Exist that closes it out on Shroud.
We did indeed visit one. I think they've spoken enough about it on the analyst desk. It was
fun.
Did
they? I don't listen to those
guns
guys.
scare me. I didn't really like being in there. I think.
Yeah, right. I heard you were like undid your belt, had your shirt ripped open with dual Berettas in each hand, just firing them in the air. I heard you loved it.
Yeah. Well, that's one story. Don't know who told that one, but there it is. 13-13, and there it is. NFP do get themselves right back in this game, and Cloud9 now, after having that pretty massive lead, Need to get back to the drawing board, and they come in with quite a tight buy here. Nothing without a single grenade. And 4 smokes, limited flashbangs as well. And you see that a little bit rattled now, not looking as confident as they were before. Full hold at the start of the round, and it's going to be the Skadoodle Orb. He's been instrumental in their success so far on this map. He's had a great game. Dropped off a little bit in the last few rounds, but still, for me, I feel like he's going to be doing some work here as he goes up against Pitt, who's, like we said before, certainly not a superstar AWPer, can hold his own, but he's having a rough day like he has today with the AWP potentially. Maybe he could be the weakness here for Cloud9 to exploit.
So Skadoodle with slow pace and grace. AWP to watch A to make sure no one pushes out long because they haven't put any information. Are there any players over there to get information? It's Forrest that wants to try and figure out some sort of solution to the problem of bathrooms as he gets ever closer. That's actually going to draw confidence from GetRight and Pith, as Pith will throw a support nade and GetRight gets in behind. They're going to push all the way through this. So NIP wanting to set the pace, try and catch Cloud9 off, the chance to do so because they're throwing out nades, they're rotating back around Forrest. He's looked the wrong direction. Has he been spotted? He is. Forrest still manages the kill on Stewie, who couldn't get the angle despite seeing Forrest slip by. And I think it's because he had the knife out. I'd love to see it from his perspective. He just thrown a nade at long, gets caught with the knife out, and look what happens. Because Forrest stays alive in the round, finds a 3rd kill, and it goes to NIP 14-13.
Yeah, Forrest has had a bit of a stinker of a game so far, but all is forgiven in that round alone. What a great performance from him. Great positioning and catches them off guard. Not really much he can do about it. 14-13 now. And we have another timeout coming in.
Right here, at that moment,
yeah.
Stewie had already watched Forrest slip by, but he had his knife out as he was retreating from long after throwing a nade to try and get bait. That's just bad timing, and it works out so well from Forrest.
Yeah, so just to kind of give you a little insight what's going on here, Cloud9 tried to call a pause then. We're not using the Valve rules here. You get 1 pause per game. So they've already used that, and that's kind of indicative as to where their mindset is right now. Even though they know they probably can't use it, it's hoping they can slip it in.
It's a good point.
Hope for the best.
NIP will capitalize on that surely. But it also serves to make note that teams have so many different rule sets. We do need some consistency on that, in my opinion, because obviously here, they're expecting to take a timeout and can't, and I'm sure there'll be other teams that have that same issue this weekend. Not that the usage of 2 minutes beforehand isn't against the rules, you know what I mean? It's 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other, but there needs to be consistency. A lovely opening shot on the boost as well to take down Shroud.
So this was 7-1 in favor of Cloud9 to kick off the second half, and then some absolute blunders of rounds from Cloud9 have got themselves in this position. Another partial buy, trying to pause, and you know you can't. And the first pick goes against the boost towards short. 5-on-4, a little bit more damage inflicted there as well. And NIP, this is where they start really coming into their own. They have had a few resurgent rounds, and they start to look a lot more confident. Forrest finally starts arriving as well. This is looking really disastrous for Cloud9, and potentially match point coming in favor of NIP, but maybe Nothing has something to say about that.
Drive-by shooting catches out Freiburg. Nothing. Trying to get aggressive as well with the Tech-9 as he continues to wrap around. Chance shots through the boards. It's going to allow Exist to wrap around during the reload, but Stewie's there to take him down. Nothing follows up. Hold that thought for match point. 14-14 might be a possibility as the 3 Tech-9s, 2 kills from Nothing, 1 from Stewie, have the site in their control. Bomb planted as well. Has to be a swift retake. GetRight will start it off, and Forrest as an AWP to get information. Hits the shot on Nothing, but they've got to find the 3rd player who's still close to angle. What a play from Stewie!
Good lord, Stewie there with 3 kills. It's Forrest who has the opportunity to take him down, and I think he's just trying to flick it a little bit too much. GetRight comes out towards Heaven, gets the information, and Threat knows that's a bit of a shocker overall. This is the final play, so this is the shot. Forrest misses that one. Hits a shot, of course, he wins the round. Stewie gifted something in return there. They've had some horrible rounds in the last few, but now they have something to work with. 14-14, we are going to get a distance here as we get into round number 29. The Orb's back and has a Skadoodle, and a much needed round victory for Cloud9 there. That's going to revitalize them, get their morale a little bit higher.
Think about that as well. The smart play from Cloud9 to leave all 3 players very aggressive in the post plant. Not play the bomb. They've got pistols. They killed 2 already inside of the water position. They think, okay, that's clear. Don't know where he is. GetRight goes searching, goes down, and like you said, that missed shot on an AWP.
To me, right now, considering what we've seen so far, I think NIP would be better off with 5 rifles, you know, like Pith on this orb,
actually.
I would say, like, this is just not working for them. Like, as soon as someone doesn't step up dramatically, we have this default coming in.
He's
I
trying
don't
to
see him
fake
hitting
Forrest.
shots. Oh, okay. Shut up, Henry.
Eat your
It's fine.
words, Henry. 2 for 1.
Yep, that'll do. All right, then.
Never mind you, Henry. I've got this solved, but he does go down, and trades still do favor Cloud9. He was trying to bait Forrest in with those first couple of shots. It worked. They walked around the corner, but the flash came out. Forrest was caught, and he lands a lovely lineup.
That's so typical for me. As soon as I call him out, I say, yeah, but what about this, guys? He gets the collateral. Okay. Fine.
Yeah, foot and mouth, because that couldn't have been better timing.
Yeah.
Please clip that. As Freiburg will play inside of the site with Exist, they have to anticipate something going on toward B. In fact, they do, because Get Right's rotated all the way around. All 3 NIP players are here, and they're walking in Monster. Did Get Right spot the first? I think he did. He's going searching. This will give information. Now they know. As he gets down into water, it's Freiburg that catches the crossfire, and the third player, Exist, is yet to show from the sandbags. This is a huge problem for Cloud9, because as soon as they go toward the plant, they're going to be cut off. Smoke's down, and Skadoodle hitting a lovely shot. I take it all back, because nothing, he hits Get Right, and it is just Freiburg remaining. They know he got the first kill on the entry. They know he's out toward the bags, and they've got him through the smoke. It's Cloud9 to get map point first.
Yep, a weird round overall. Pitt getting a little bit more for his money at that point, maybe more than he deserved. But it doesn't matter as Cloud9 go back towards the B site. I just want to have a look at this. How did this line up for him? Yeah, so he gets quite lucky, I guess. It's not every day that players line up for you like that. But Skadoodle, he gets a little luck in return. He goes up towards the B site. He shoots completely through the smoke, nails the shot. And at that point, his teammates flood onto the site. And that's a massive round 10 to the win. It is match point now for Cloud9. Started to wake up towards the end of this half. And it's going to be pistols and a UMP. Surely this is it for Cloud9. Do not let this game go towards overtime.
Overtime. The way this has been, it's been back and forth with. It's almost mistakes that are allowing these rounds.
Yeah, this hasn't been
happen.
pretty CS. This has been like this is showing you the kind of form both of these teams are in right now. It's just down to who makes the more mistakes as to who's going to win the game. That's pretty much.
Or who makes the least mistakes for who's going to win the game.
Well, yeah.
I know what you meant.
Yeah.
But overtime would just be a drawn-out affair and would give money back to NIP, which they do not have. That's the first test, is finding an opening pick to try and help them in this particular round. Get Right. He's at jungle, waiting to rotate on information. Pith Forest, passive on A. Freiburg Exist, passive on B.
So Cloud9 know the money's going to be really poor right now. It's 2 rounds in a row they've picked up. Going towards long once again. They're treating this like the Antico, get that map control. Sets Skadoodle up to, he can support his teammates. That smoke is dropped towards long A. That denies vision for the CDs at that point, and that's perfect right now. That means you can see he's going to get very close to that smoke. Smoke towards bank, smoke towards CD spawn, Molotov the site. You can see him setting that up right now. Here it comes. And it's going to take someone to step up and have an absolute miraculous round here for the CTs. Here come the Molotovs.
Molotovs in every possible angle. They cover off bank, they cover off dumpster. It's a kill either way. Forest will get nothing but a fall immediately after. They have to capitalize. Pith, Deagle up front. Can't land it, and turns around, realizes Long is covered off. Cloud9, 1 versus 4, have the game in their hands, and Shroud will make sure of that by taking down Freiburg. So they get there in the end. It wasn't pretty, as you say. And in fact, at 13-10, it looked like they would go 14-10 would be easy. They go all the way back to being down in a round and then manage to somehow get there in the end.
Yeah, although we get the 16-14, I have to say that some of the mistakes that were made in that game were unforgivable on both sides. You can see Cloud9 let that game slip away and get it that close. I thought they were going to just close things out. They lose to a full eco, and then that horrible round with Stu gets 2 kills with the A site. NIP get back into it, then Cloud9 see the drop off, and then, like we said, it's just who makes the least amount of mistakes towards the end. Cloud9, I think, a big sigh of relief. We know they're a team that's very emotional, be known to tilt. They manage to close things out and don't allow that to actually go towards overtime.
Yeah, you have to when the money is, as it was. And there was some very interesting plays in terms of Freiburg cutting off the massive mistake from Cloud9 after they do tremendous work to take over the A site as a sales pitch and then don't get into B because nothing goes aggressive. Yeah. Stewie with the Tech 9 capitalizing on misplays inside the B site. Sometimes that's the thing. People will look at this game and think that was very exciting, but it's sloppy that makes exciting. The truth is, in my opinion, textbook CS is often dry to watch because it plays out as it should.
The one headline I would take away from that game from an IP is something needs to be done about this AWP situation. I don't think Pitt's good enough on the CD side to really justify him having it every single opportunity. Doesn't seem to having any impact whatsoever. I think 5 rifles would have made a lot more sense towards the end there. Yes, he had the collateral round, but that's pretty much all he did with the AWP. Yeah, obviously, just as I said, cool, fair enough, but that's quite a rare scenario. He should have just got 1 and be taken down, but he gets 2 for 1. I really do think they need that superstar role player. If they're ever going to change anyone, they need to bring a big name in that can be, maybe a Twist would make a lot of sense right now.
Twist, this is the thing. Everyone's talking about Twist finally playing on a top team when he went to Fnatic. He only wanted to play with friends, and he turned down NIP twice in the past. One was the original roster change when they tried out with Delpan before they went to Michaelele. Twist turned them down then, and then after after Alu left, they went back to Twist and ended up with Pith.
Yeah, if they crash out...
I'm pretty sure the time frame might be slightly different on the second one, but that's roughly what it was.
If they crash out in this tournament, I'm going to speculate there will be changes. If they lose this next game and it's another group stage failure, I think that's going to be it.
Well, they've got to do. They have to. That's the thing is what we talk about NIP being the team in Sweden. Fnatic seems to make changes that benefit them. Now they're back to their legendary lineup, but they were taking what they could from Epsilon. They obviously made some changes with Godsent. We knew that they were eager to make changes. NIP almost rested on their laurels for too long, and we always wonder when that change is going to happen, and it seems like they never make the opportunity work. Well,
that's enough about NIP. We're going to hand over to Smix, who's got Cloud9 there for the winners interview.
Well, first of all, congratulations, Jordan. What a fantastic game. So much crazy action going on back and forth. It was really hard to say who was going to finally take the win, but it was you guys. What do you believe were the key reasons that it was you guys that got the win over NIP?
You know, best of one. It's kind of any given Sunday, especially when you're playing at this level. I think we just stayed composed. Kudos to Stu for calling and not getting too frustrated because we lost some silly rounds. That round, what was it, like 14-14 or 14-13 when the guy killed Tyler planning B, just like a miscomm, so it's like no one's fault really, like just a lot of things going on at once. So yeah, just staying composed.
Well, it's been nearly 2 months since the last time we saw you guys where you barely failed to qualify for the major event. Since then, how has the team been and how did you guys actually process that loss?
Well, I guess how we processed that loss was just like, you know, just like I said, it's any given Sunday. You should never go in any match with expectations. You should try to play your game and stay as composed as you can. And then, you know, sometimes in games, you could tell when to be more cocky and when to be more confident. And in that Overpass game, I think we got confident a little too early versus Hellraisers. That was the last one. We could talk about the first couple versus FaZe and Tyloo, but versus that Hellraisers game, I remember we had a good T-side Overpass. And then on CT, we lost pistol and just kind of hastily four spot, and that was kind of a bad decision. But yeah, since then, you know, we've had some downtime, and I think when we watch all these other events, especially the major, you know, you just get so excited to see how the scene is growing, and you just want to play at the tournaments and stuff. So that's been kind of what's keeping us together. And in the off season, we're just trying to remember these moments because practice does get dull. You can ask anyone from the top teams in the world to the outside the top 10, and it can sometimes get dull, especially when you're playing the same people over and over. So you just try to stay fresh.
Now, speaking of the major, since then there's been a lot of changes going on with a lot of different teams, including the team you're going to be playing next, SK. They've already had a dominant start this morning when they played Tyloo, had a really strong finish there. So, speaking of going up against them, what are your thoughts on Phelps and their performance overall?
Yeah, Phelps, I feel like was really hot a couple months ago. You know, anyone can kind of go up and down, so we're not necessarily scared of them, but you can't not respect them when you play them. So I think that's just kind of the name of the game, play them with confidence and play them like we would anyone.
All right, well, thank you so much, Jordan. As always, back to you guys.
Thanks very much, Sue. An intriguing interview from Jordan. Not only is he gracious in victory, but also he seems to be indicating that there's not necessarily an abundance of positive vibes despite the victory. It's hard to stay motivated. He did suggest, however, that there was an increase in hunger watching that major not being present and just realizing that, okay, the scene is growing, we're still competitive, and I imagine that may have relit the fire perhaps under the bums of some of the members of Cloud9, but still not overwhelmingly positive, suggesting practice can get you down. I guess when you're not at the big events, practice can get you down, Chad. Are you giggling?
I don't know why practice is getting anyone down. Obviously, practicing while everyone else is playing a big tournament kind of sucks, but you're always working towards a goal, right?
Yeah.
And practice makes perfect. All those old adages and sayings or cliche.
Well, I mean, Cloud9 did do it. In fact, yeah, let me collect my chips for another ridiculous prediction thing.
Oh, you got Stewie right.
Oh, yeah, I've got Stewie. Can I have the player prediction chips? Duncan, what did you pop on? Is it 2 or 3 or 1?
Just take them all. Yeah. I'm done with that whole part of the show.
I'm enjoying this.
Say goodbye to chips. That part's done.
Hope you guys have all enjoyed it.
If you were winning, you would be well into this. I'm just
Definitely
saying.
wouldn't be. It's absolute garbage, mate. I mean, he gets 2 chips every time, so what am I going to win?
But
Stewie
got 33 kills.
Get anything from
Anyway, moving away, I'm just going to hold my useless chips that mean nothing.
Hashtag real chips.
What did you say, sorry?
Hashtag real chips in the real world.
You do? What, like McCoy's or Walker's or...
They don't even know what that joke means.
Nope, no one knows.
Okay.
And you
Just
use
knock us out of
McCoys
that.
from like the 1980s.
McCoys are brilliant. Never, don't diss a good McCoy. What were we talking about? Sorry, Chet.
Stewie having 33 frags, making a lot of those plays I was talking about in the pregame.
Saved their ass at the end as well.
Yeah, they even managed to throw around where he got 3 opening frags on that A-bomb site, and then they still lost it, where Freiburg he got those last two cheeky frags.
Yeah, but I think also you have to talk about, I mean, this is one thing where when we're critical of someone like Skadoodle, like it always just comes off as bashing, but it's not. It's just like he's going to get the most criticism because we've seen the level he can be at when he's an incredible player. So obviously when you're not seeing him there, it's just like what's going on here. But when he is performing at this level, because I think he was right behind Stewie, he had phenomenal impact on the CT side, holding down that A-bomb site with the AWP. He was doing very well supporting his team on the T side when they were pushing up to execute tactics, holding angles, picked off Pitt a couple times who was going for a mid-round peak. So when Skadoodle's zoned in like this, when he's having a good game, you can just see the level of impact and how much easier this T side and even the CT side, just the easier the game is for Cloud9 in general.
And I mean, a big question while we're talking about Skadoodle and AWPing in general is on Overpass, we've seen the impact, huge AWPers can make.
Yeah.
We always praise Device. We've seen Guardian on and off, but can make a huge impact. And NIP don't have that anymore. Forrest has already gone out and said he doesn't want to be playing it as much, and so it falls to Pitt. I mean, we're struggling to find a comfortable AWPer, Duncan. Could an argument be made that we keep talking about rosters shuffle needs to happen for NIP? Do they need to go shopping for another AWPer back to Alu?
I mean, they had one when they had Alakalele, but obviously personality issues were complicated there. I actually think, the flaw here is, I think, particularly on Overpass, for whatever reason, Forrest doesn't want to be the AWPer.
Sure.
The thing is, he was always a good AWPer. It was never about his AWPing. It's the fact he's such a good rifler. If you can, you want him on the rifle. But I think actually Henry's right. If you watched that game there, the Pith just didn't really make sense on the AWP, especially because actually he's a very stable rifler. Like, actually, I think that was one thing he brought to that team, is there was such an up and down team performance-wise. He was kind of a rock, as that more supportive player. So putting him in the AWP role there, wasn't really that convincing. Like, when you look at the two AWPers on CT side, Skadoodle much more better in that sense.
Even with those deficiencies, I didn't even really have an issue with Pitt with the AWP, but NIP towards the end of their CT half picked up a second AWP, and they went for like a double AWP setup for 2 rounds. So it was just like, why is that happening? Like, why is that necessary?
I mean, double AWP it can work instrumentally on Overpass.
Yeah, but like you don't have. It's always that question, right? When you have a team that doesn't have it was like the old Optic question as well. Like they didn't have like a primary AWPer. They had a bunch of people who could do it in support, who could be a secondary AWPer situationally at times. But like they always feel like you need that primary AWPer. So I mean, I know that Henry brought it up. I know Lurpus was having the conversation on Twitter as well. Why even have an AWP? Why not just go 5 rifles? I mean, it changes the things you can do, changes your options. But obviously, having these 5 riflers at times is going to be better than having a half serviceable AWPer.
Sure. I mean,
especially if they're not playing well with it. That's the big thing as well. If he's having a good game with it, keep it by all means. But like,
yeah, well, I mean, that's obviously when you lose the game 16-14. If you're buying AWPs all the time on CT side, well, that could be the game right there.
That could be the one necessary rifle, the one round.
I don't know if we were talking about this back there about Valens, the coach. He's not here at the moment. He's the new Cloud9 coach. I don't know if he came up with the T-slap pistol round for Cloud9, but
you liked it?
I really liked it. It was good versus passive CT pistol.
I mean, that's what he's supposed to be famous for. His rep is that he has a lot of like weird off-kilter plays. When he was the in-game leader of some of his past teams and was the coach of TSM, etc. So I figure that has to be some of the reason why they brought him into the team. Automatics played underneath him.
Well, while we're on the topic of coaches, it has to be addressed, right? And NIP at their peak recently, the Malmo when they were performing so well, was when Threat was sitting there with a microphone, and before the coaching changes, DreamHack not following the Valve rule set, Threat is in their ears all the time. I mean, is it safe to assume that we'd expect a little bit of the NIP of old back now with Threat behind the mic?
I mean, I doubt he was necessarily like in-game leading with them full-time the way he was before the coaching change. Yeah, and then I think when you add in like the break and the major break, and NIP, I don't even think they had their boot camp until like maybe right after the major, maybe a couple days after the major, so I doubt they had time to bring him in and adjust to him being a full-time in-game leader for this event. So it would be interesting to hear from them like what he's actually doing for them here.
Yeah, it would be a good question to ask. Perhaps we'll get Sue on the case tomorrow. That's all from NIP today, though. Let's have a quick look at the stats. It'd be intriguing to see who's been standing out. You already mentioned 30 for Stewie, but outside of that, if you do look down the NIP side, very even. No real outstanding overperformer or underperformer. Quite the opposite, though, if you look towards Cloud9. A real stark difference between the top and bottom there. Shroud not quite, I was going to say pulling his weight, but just 13 for him, despite picking up the victory. Cloud9 going to be in the upper bracket of Group C, so that's a big one for them. You can see how they meet SK Gaming. I'd call that a domestic matchup, and a domestic matchup that, I mean, back to Sao Paulo, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the grudge
Rematch.
match with SK and
Yeah.
Tyloo. I mean, this is a little bit more recent, right? And beating them on their home soil, so that, obviously SK is going to want revenge for that one. That's one where there's definitely going to be a little bit of a grudge held.
Yeah.
And for a playoff spot, no less. Duncan, before we do head to break, we have Renegades up next, going up against. Wow, my handwriting is so bad. FaZe. It looks like FAR. FaZe, yes. So FaZe going up against.
That's not a team, so I'm going to go with FaZe.
My handwriting is awful. I just wanted you to kind of give the viewers a little something about why they have what they have to look forward to with Renegades FaZe.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is, like, this is actually where this coaching rule could be interesting, because obviously we know Renegades brought in Kassad, the guy who actually essentially in-game led Mouse Sports to top 4 at E-League Season 1. He's their coach, but they're a team where what they've actually lacked for a while, ever since Sponge left, is they haven't had a proper in-game leader. They've been kind of rotating that. They've been bringing in new players. So I want to see if that has an impact right there, because, yeah, FaZe has certainly got all the tools to be a very dangerous team. They haven't quite got Nico in the lineup yet, but I also feel like Renegades is not a bad shout for a best-of-1 upset, maybe. Yeah. So it'll probably depend on the map, I think.
Okay, we'll be map dependent. We'll have the voice of Duncan to guide us through those map vetoes after our break. But it is time to see if the Australians can go ahead and start strong with that new Swedish blood. Looking forward to talking about all of that after our break as DreamHack Masters Vegas does continue after this.
Coming up on DreamHack Masters, Face Clan versus Renegades.
NIP has a new official song, Standing When It All Falls Down by John Desson. Listen to it now.